Yo, what's good, YouTube? In today's video, I'm giving you guys the top 5 best SMG loadouts to use here in Season 2. A lot has changed, so I got you guys all the best loadouts. If you enjoyed the video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe as notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, so our first gun up here today is going to be the C9. This is your new #1 SMG to use. Basically, besides the PPSH, statistically, this is going to be one of the best SMGs you can possibly use. Out goes the Jackal, out goes the PP919. Those are no longer nearly as good as they used to be. So if you aren't using the C9, you definitely should be. And I got you guys, of course, the best build for it. So first thing in the barrel section, we're going to throw on the long barrel. This just kind of helps extend out our overall damage range. Hugely beneficial, something you guys need to be running. We don't need to run the reinforce or the gain twist. We'll go ahead and select this and I'll show you guys. It says your damage at effective range. These used to be probably roughly around the 13 to 14 meter range, but this right now is now at 17 meters, which is absolutely amazing. And you guys definitely want to be running that. I mean, it makes all the difference in the world, and our bullet velocity is perfectly fine because we're using this largely at hit scan ranges, which is close range. So at that underbarrel section, we go down here and throw on the Ranger foregrip. Helps with our horizontal recoil and, of course, our sprinting movement speed. This is my favorite underbarrel to run by far whenever I'm making an SMG build. Something I really like doing. If you guys don't happen to have that, go ahead and run the vertical foregrip. Or if you feel like for whatever reason it moves around a little bit too much since we don't have a compensator on there, go ahead and run the vertical foregrip and you guys will be fully taken care of. After that, in the magazine section, basically two realistic options in here, one being the extended mag 1 and the other one being extended mag 2. Not really the flip mag or the fast mag. Those don't really work all that great in my opinion, not for Warzone. Maybe for multiplayer or something like that, you can get away with only having 30 rounds in the mag, but not really as much for Warzone. So my personal choice is going to be extended mag 1, and the only reason I'm not running extended mag 2 is I don't feel like it slows me down that much, to be honest, like to the point where I don't want to use it. I just don't like the fact that when you like slap the magazine in, you actually have to hit it with a second tap. Like he slaps it in and then he has to slap it in again. Like he basically taps it again and that fully completes the reload. So if you try to reload cancel before he does that second tap, your character does that second tap, you won't get that reload off. And I find that personally really frustrating, and I hate having that extra stuff on the animation. So to kind of combat that, I basically went with the extended mag 1, and this right here allows me to get a great reload speed in and stuff 40 rounds in the mag, which I find is going to be sufficient for me. Rear grip section, we're gonna go down here and throw on the ergonomic grip. This helps with your slide to fire, dive to fire, and of course ADS speed. I always say when I'm building out an SMG, having good slide to fire time and ADS speed is absolutely crucial. I mean, ADS, I mean, that just makes sense, but slide to fire, because a lot of us are going to be slide canceling around, it does make all the difference in the world when you have a trash slide to fire versus a really good one. So you guys 110% want to be running the ergonomic grip. It does make a difference. Lastly, in the stock section, two options in here, much like we have for the magazine. First one being the infiltrator, which is going to get you that maximum aim walking movement speed you can possibly get. And the other one being the balance stock, which still does give you that strafing movement speed, hip fire movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. But for the aim walking, it's going to get you less than what the infiltrator will do. So in my opinion, I actually kind of like the balance stock a little bit more. Sometimes with the infiltrator, it feels like it moves a little bit too much. And when you get a little bit too much movement in your ADS, it almost makes the gun feel unstable. So try it out between the infiltrator and the balance stock. But this right now is going to be my preference on what to run on the C9. So this right here is my full build. Try it out. Next up here in our SMG category is going to be the KSV. And yes, this is the Reflect BO6 pre-order camo that I camo swapped onto this a while ago. Not really sure if that glitch is patched, but for whatever reason, of course I saw that variant. So for you guys that are wondering, it's not like a hack or an unlock tool or nothing. It's just a camo swap glitch. It took like 30 seconds to do. Anyways, let's get in here and show you guys the actual build for it. So you can actually skip the muzzle category, much like we did for the C9, aka the MP5. Go straight to the barrel and throw on the long barrel here as per usual. Increase out the damage range to the absolute max, which in this case is going to be 19.6 meters, which is even better than the C9, and the damage profile is almost even a little bit better as well. So you guys could pretty much use this or the C9 kind of interchangeably. There's a lot of great variety in the meta right now, so I was actually running this as my go-to SMG in my previous video when I was using the AMES 85, which took the place of the XM4 as the best AR. Underbarrel section, we're going to go in here and use the Ranger foregrip. This gets you, of course, like I said, horizontal recoil control and sprinting movement speed. Don't gotta explain this one too much, just my favorite one to run on this gun. Magazine section, I just go down here for extended mag 2 to get me that 50 rounds in the mag. This isn't that SMG where I really have to kind of decide between the two. Sure, you might be able to be a little bit faster mobility wise having extended mag 1, but overall 50 rounds in the mag on this gun does make the difference. And I find that because it's not like it's going to be something like, you know, a pre-patched jackal or something else like that. I mean, guns might take a slight bit longer time to take people out. I feel like having the extra rounds in the mag is good. And also, just because you got enough rounds to take somebody out doesn't mean you have enough to finish them off before getting that reload in. So it does help to have the extra right there, and I like it. Rear grip, as per usual, we're going to go for that ergonomic grip, slide to fire, dive to fire, ADS. I mean, I don't even know how many times I've, you know, repeated those 3 specific things when building out an SMG, but it's like my go-to on basically everything. And if you're not using it, you are essentially doing it wrong. Genuinely, you're doing it wrong. Stock section for a final attachment, much like the C9, we have the infiltrator stock, which here is actually quite good. I like it a decent bit, but more recently I switched over to that balance stock as I wanted just to have a bit more of that movement speed, just to be able to run a little bit faster. I found that it was going to help me get out of some situations I wasn't really enjoying being in. So this is really awesome, and I think you guys should be running the balance stock on this gun or the infiltrator, up to you, but basically between those two, nothing else. This is my full KSV build. Hope you guys like that. Up next now here in our top 5 is going to be the PPSH. This is arguably, like I said in the beginning, between the C9 and this, like your number 1, number 2 SMG to use. They did buff this, so of course they put it into the game, and it really wasn't bad by any means. It was actually pretty solid, but then the same day, like yesterday, as the time of making this video, they nerfed the XM4 and simultaneously buffed the PPSH. So it helped it become even better, and so you guys are going to want to be leveling this up and using it. So here is your best build. Muscle category, first thing we're going to do is throw on the compensator. So this right here, I mean, this is something that, you know, even when I was using this in multiplayer, I actually was running a suppressor because I felt like it was pretty easily manageable for the recoil wise. So if you feel like that's the case for you and you want to do that, go for it. But otherwise, even in my gameplays, I was still running the compensator. I just feel like this feels a bit better on the gun. And I don't mind being unsuppressed, considering pretty much my AR, my long range is unsuppressed. I don't mind people knowing where I'm at, just based on my playstyle. I always try to send at people. So for me, the compensator just works out great, allows me to hit some more of them shots at range, which might otherwise be a little bit too hard for me to get done. Barrel section here, as per usual, the long barrel. This is just kind of what you always need to run on your SMGs. Let's take a look at those detailed stats. You can see your damage at effective range is the farthest out of anything I've showed you guys today at 20.2 meters, which is phenomenal. That's like incredible. That's, I think, the farthest, about the farthest first effective damage range in the game. Honestly, you can see your actual damage distribution is now like up into the 30s and 40s or something like that. So this gun's gonna be a real consistent, hard-hitting gun over some decent range that a lot of other SMGs will experience their drop-off way earlier. So you guys are going to be really taken care of in that department. It's going to work good as like a sniper support or something like that. If you want to run a sniper in an actual true SMG, this would probably be a really good go-to combination. Outside, of course, Ranger foregrip here. I mean, listen, I don't got to explain this one too much. You guys know what it does. Magazine section, this is another case where, like the C9, where I actually opted to go for extended mag 1, and the reason being it's the same exact thing. This gun has that reload where you have to tap the mag in again, and I don't like that. I would prefer to have 55 rounds in the mag, but I find myself so many times in game getting quite irritated where I have to go and slap it in again. It just takes too long. So I don't like that, and the reload on this is great, honestly. For extended mag 1, it slows you down a little bit, but it still feels quite fast, especially after the updates where they basically bolster the reload speed of a lot of those BO6 guns, because it's quite slow. I mean, I used to always exclusively run sleight of hand or fast hands, whatever it was, in MW3 Warzone, and of course you don't have that really unless you run around like a fast mag. So for this feels great, feels like it reloads fast enough, and I get great rounds in the mag. Now we're going back to the stock section because, of course, there's no rear grip for the PPSH. That's not something you have to unlock. It's just not there. So as a result, we have a boatload of these different stock options right here, which do help you out in a variety of ways. So this one right here, the ergonomic, slide to fire, dive to fire, and aim walking movement speed is pretty solid. I think generally speaking, between the agility stock and the combat stock, those are probably going to be like your best ones to go for, honestly. I mean, you still get, with the balance stock, the movement speed, sprint to fire, strafing movement, and hip fire movement speed. We don't get that any of that aim walking movement speed, which is pretty clutch. And this, you don't really get that either. So between the combat and the agility, it just kind of comes down to what you really want. I prefer the dive to fire and slide to fire of this thing, and I get sprint to fire. But overall, I do get ADS speed and aim walking movement speed here on this one. So I find this to be a really great option as well. It's kind of like something you have to really mess around with. Like, honestly, depending on your play style and what you're using it for, the top 3 options, ergonomic, agility, and combat, can really suit this build, you know, however you want. So for me, my best success came with using the agility stock, and the other thing I really did test a lot was the combat stock. Haven't used the ergonomic, but it's got great potential. So these are going to be my recommendations right here. So this is also going to be my full build for the PPSH. Next up, we're going to be taking a look here at the Compact 92. This is basically one of the fastest killing SMGs in the entire game. And in my other video, I actually lost at the very end to a guy that had the Compact because this thing is incredibly good now. So you guys definitely want to be using this. First thing, we're going to go into the muzzle category, and this is going to have a decent bit of recoil. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that it has as little recoil as possible. I do personally run a build without a compensator, but I'll give you guys probably your best overall build, not like my preferential one. I think it'll be probably better for majority of people out there. So compensator is going to be the move on this gun. Barrel section, we're going to go through on the long barrel. This is, you know, the best thing for it. We got to increase the damage range out to the absolute max, so I really like that. Let's take a look at it here. 12.6 meters, not obviously the absolute best, but overall, because it has 1,091 round per minute fire rate at close range, I mean, it's definitely by far the fastest killing SMG, or I should say the fastest firing SMG, and it gives you the most leeway to miss some of your shots. Whereas, like, you know, obviously back in MW3 Warzone, if you were using the Uzi, you know, the WSP9, it was really good, but it was not as forgiving. You started missing your shots. So this right here is very forgiving, and that's going to be great for a lot of people. After that, we're going to go down here, Ranger foregrip as per usual. So y'all just want to go ahead and do this. Definitely something I'd recommend. Overall, it's definitely the best way to do it. Magazine, we're going to go here and throw on Extended Mag 2. And the only reason I'm not running Extended Mag 3 is literally just because the reload. And of course, you know, I feel like it reloads fast enough. I got enough ammo in the mag. I don't feel like I need 60 rounds. I am a 60 round mag kind of guy, but for certain things, like I gotta forego that, right? Like I can't just go for a 60 if it's not going to be beneficial. You know, I'd forego the 60 on the XM4 when I was using that pre-patch to go for the 100. So in this case, I'm foregoing that to go down to the 50, which I believe is going to be your best option. You guys definitely should be using this. Lastly, we're going to go into the rear grip section here and throw on the ergonomic grip. This is going to be pretty much like my staple rear grip on all my SMGs, so I really don't got to explain this one too much. So this right here is pretty much like my full build of what you guys should be running, and if you want to use something a little bit different, take off the compensator, go to the stock section, and throw on either the infiltrator or the balance stock, and you guys will for real be flying around the map a little bit extra. If the gun feels too much for you, like it's got too much recoil, because it definitely does have that, then go ahead and, you know, take off the stock and go back and throw on, you know, a muzzle like the compensator. So that is my full build for the Compact 92. And for our final gun here today, I've included this in pretty much most of my top 5 SMGs. That's going to be the Striker. So this is now even statistically better than your Jackal PDW and your PP919. This is actually a really solid SMG, by far the best MW3 SMG you can use. So if you really don't like the BO6 ones, use the Striker, and I got you guys the best build for it. So we're going to do this. We're going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom, which is going to be the Fox 2 flash hider. And by the way, for you guys also that are wondering, since I've said it before, I actually did camo swap diamond camo over from the BO6 guns to this. So I have diamond camo on this, and it's pretty cool. It gives me a nice little gold tip here on the Fox 2 flash hider. So that's really going to be that. That's that first attachment: damage range, firing aiming stability, and muzzle flash concealment. Great things here to be able to have. Barrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to go throw on that Striker Recon long barrel, increase in bullet velocity and range, and aiming idle sway. We don't care about getting the benefits of like less recoil or something like that from the Elite long barrel. It also gives you less damage range and slows you down. So overall, we really just care about the damage range. Like I'll go back in here and click onto it. You can see 13.8 at the Elite long barrel versus 14.5. Not a huge difference, but also we're not losing any of the ADS speed or stuff like that. So it makes a large difference in that regard. I always have said this to be better even in MW3 Warzone, and it stays true here. So next up in our underbarrel section, basically like 3 options. So the XRK Edge, we're going to take a look at this: ADS speed and sprint to fire. You scroll on down a little bit, I have to go down to like 33, 34, somewhere like that. Oh, it's right here. We have the DR6 hand stop and the FTAC MSP hand stop. If you'll notice, even like when I go through them, they all do the same exact thing. So if you have, let's say you like the visual look of the FTAC MSP, you like it better on the DR6, or you like the XRK Edge visually a little bit better, it doesn't matter. They all do the same exact thing. They kind of dumb down the individualness of them to basically being like triplets. So they all do the same thing, and it doesn't matter. So go for the DR6, FTAC MSP, or XRK Edge, or even for that matter, you can probably go up in here and run something a little bit different, you want to go run the Jack Slash, that is another option as well. But generally speaking, go for one of the three I mentioned. So we're just going to go for this right up here since I don't want to scroll all the way back down. And you can't favorite attachments, which is really cool. Magazine, we're going to go in here and throw on the 48 round mag. This is what it is. There's absolutely no reason. There's never been a reason to run the 60 round drum on this thing. Like for real, there's not a reason. So don't do that. Go ahead and run the 48. I mean, it slows you down the least in comparison to the 60, and it's not a high fire rate SMG. So having 48 is like more than enough. You could probably realistically take out 2 to 3 people with a single clip as long as you hit your shots. They're not super far away. So this is like really, really good. Lastly, we're going to go into the stock section, skipping that rear grip, and we're going to go in here and throw on the Lockman MK2 light stock, giving us sprint speed and movement speed. You can see it negatively affects your gun kit control, which is something you really don't got to worry about. The striker has always had very minimal, and the iron sights are very easy to use, especially if you have like that 8-bit variant, which is has like, you know, the little Minecraft looking characters on it. And those iron sights are really, really good, but even the standard iron sights on this thing are fantastic. So go ahead and do that. And if you feel like you're getting a little bit adventurous, go for the no stock, and you'll have a lot more mobility, of course, at the cost of some of the handling characteristics. It's not like those BO6 guns where you get no extra cons. I kind of wish they'd alter that a little bit instead of making these guns worse technically in comparison to the BO6 guns, but it is what it is. They're trying to sell the new game, and well, I don't know. I could probably ramble on about how they're selling their game and what they're doing, but we're gonna finish that off. If you guys enjoyed this video, this has been my top 5. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.